today you'll hear something very, very special, very interesting that we have prepared for you with Dano.
That would be the correct way to frame it. Yeah, I should say I sold my Amazon business so I can buy myself a Ducati. Why would you sell your business? There are a few answers I have for that. So, and I could summarize it as time and money freedom.
Yeah, in other words, they want to do nothing, to earn money, and have no risk.
Exactly.
This webinar is absolutely special because I'm sure there is not much of this type of content online. WAPI webinars again with you. It's Thursday. My name is Alexander Fridman, and I'm glad to be here again. And today you'll hear something very, very special, very interesting that we have prepared for you with Dano. Dano, my wonderful guest, it's our third webinar already. How are you doing?
Yes. Thank you, Alex. Such a pleasure to be on your show again. Yes, as you said, the treat the third time. We're kind of taking turns. You interview me, I interview you, now you interview me. So, you know, we have so many things to talk about. So it
like
never ends.
Basketball. It's a basketball.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Now the ball is my field again. Yeah.
So for those who see Dano for the first time, Dano is founder of Dev Device, Amazon seller consultant, and digital marketer, right?
You can say that. That would be correct.
Something special from you. Tell us something special about yourself.
Something special. I love to write.
That is not written in my bio here.
Something that's not in your, something nobody knows about me. I like to ride my Ducati on weekends.
Wow.
Very fast also. Yeah. So that's what I do on my weekends to get, you know, my head cleared up and all. That's one of my hobbies.
Here you have to add that you have earned money for Ducati on Amazon and on marketing, right? So
yeah, that would be the correct way to frame it. Yeah, I should say I sold my Amazon business so I can buy myself a Ducati.
Right, that's good. That's a wonderful start, actually, because our topic today is selling your business, selling your Amazon business. How to avoid mistakes before and during the process of selling your Amazon business. This is very interesting because most of the people now are thinking how to start your Amazon business, how to develop the Amazon business. And you're now already jumping to the topic, okay, you have started it, you have developed it, let's sell it.
Let's sell it. And even if you're starting, there are some very smart people who say you should begin with the end in mind.
No.
So even if you're just starting off, it's not a bad idea to know, to know your goal, to know your direction, to know where you want this journey to go and to have some kind of exit scenario. I didn't have that when I started because I didn't have smart people like you, talking to me and explaining me how business works. But, now we know better. So, and today we want to make sure that many other people know as well, so they can also buy a Ducati.
Okay, wonderful. Maybe I'll buy one too. I don't have.
By the way, I'm not an affiliate with Ducati, so I'm not getting any cuts from Ducati sales, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Okay, so let's continue to the topic. Have you have a presentation for us? Or
I did my homework. Yes, I did. I prepared a presentation.
Wonderful. So
let me share my screen. And it seems like it's working already.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, now let's just make sure that the slides are actually moving also. But yeah, that should be fine. So yeah, I guess we have introduced the topic good enough. It's about selling your Amazon business and avoiding mistakes before and during the process.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just share for a minute how my Amazon journey unfolded. So I began selling in 2014 because that was the year when the first time I learned there's such a thing as selling on Amazon. So I got very excited. I subscribed to all the courses. And then, of course, the first question after like 20 other questions that comes up is like, what am I going to sell? So the Apple Watch was launched on the very same year. And I thought, well, I like Apple products. I'm using them. So why not start selling Apple Watch accessories? That was my first idea. So I did what we are supposed to do. I went to Alibaba and I found this little product here. It's an Apple Watch stand, so it can also hold an Apple Watch charger. And it's a nice thing to have if you have an Apple Watch, because, you know, you have to kind of attach the charger to it overnight. You want to keep it in a nice position. So I thought, well, let's go with this one. And so I did. The next thing, I went to Shenzhen and I met the manufacturer. And this had a lot of potential because we developed new ideas. I mean, it's a whole different story when you meet. And this is like the first piece of advice I can share with our audience here. To have a personal connection with the manufacturer makes so much difference, instead of just, because of course, I mean, we know that English is very limited. So the things we can say in email or in Skype or even on a phone call, they just only go so far. But if you make the effort and travel all the way and go and visit them in their factory, you know, they are, first of all, they are quite delighted, you know, to see you make this effort and come all the way to see them. And then they will start sharing stuff with you, which you would never know if you would just talk to them via email. So that's how my next product, the X Stand, actually came about. Because this guy, his name is Ethan, he had some ideas about, you know, what to do in this Apple Watch and stand market. And I had some ideas. So we kind of put our ideas together. And the result was my next product, which was actually my own product. So we did have a contract. So it was my product. So it was kind of exclusive. And that was like a very big step in my business forward. Then from there, following the trends in the mobile accessories niche, I also added wireless chargers to my portfolio, because it only makes sense to combine, you know, Apple Watch stand and a phone stand with a wireless charger. And that's how my portfolio grows. So my brand eventually ended up being like a brand for wireless chargers and Apple and iPhone stands. That was my journey. Wow. And then I sold it. So yeah, that was the day. Actually, this is a picture my girlfriend took, and she bought me my favorite beer, a very big bottle of my favorite beer. And I was quite ecstatic. So this is kind of the short version of like what it looks like to build and sell your Amazon business. Okay, so we're done. Thank you very much. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so this, but yeah, let's get into the details. So this process of selling the business actually took 6 months, and it was quite a roller coaster. And it was the first time I did it. And I mean, those days, I mean, I didn't know how this works, so I had to figure out everything myself. And I wished those days I had maybe like a webinar like this to watch. So let's make it as easy as possible for those people who are like in front, who have this coming their way.
So before you go further, can I ask some questions? First one, so your portfolio growth, this was with that manufacturer that was on the photo, or you added additional manufacturers?
I did end up working with 3 manufacturers. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I expanded. I mean, they were all in Shenzhen. So of course we keep, as Amazon sellers, we keep on doing research, and we do, and we find new products, and some are not supplied by certain. I mean, the first manufacturer was actually more like a designer. So the beauty about him, he was a very creative guy. He had like a design studio, and he would design stuff, but he would not manufacture himself. So he would have like suppliers who would actually build the stuff for him. And then I also expanded to other manufacturers. So yeah, I ended up working with 3 manufacturers.
In the result, you have started in 2014. Your first product you launched on the same year?
Yeah. I launched my first product in 2014.
And sold the business in 2019?
Correct.
5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yes. Good. Very good. So the next funny thing that happened is that when I told my friends that I have sold my business, I got two very specific responses. And it was like really like clockwork, like people who were not entrepreneurs, they were all kind of like, oh my God, why did you do this? What happened? Like something terrible happened to them, like selling a business was something horrible, like end of your life or something. Entrepreneur said congratulations, like well done, like happy birthday kind of thing. And that also showed me like how like selling a business has a very different meaning to different people. But yeah, as an entrepreneur, I think we should congratulate each other when this happens.
Of course. It's
So
a successful finish of a project.
yeah, exactly. So
When,
it has
when
a
you
it,
sell
it's
it,
a
when
it's
you
a
sell it, it's exact point when you finish it successful,
yeah.
and that's
Yeah, I
great.
agree. I agree. Yeah. So yeah, everything has an end and a beginning and an end. And I think that also applies to businesses, or at least like there should be a life cycle. I mean, of course, people can choose to just continue like running this business as a lifestyle business and doing on this. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to evolve as an entrepreneur, I think like starting and building and selling a business is actually something very interesting to experience at least. So which leads us to the question, which is right here in front of us. Why would you sell your business? There are a few answers I have for that. And I could summarize it as time and money freedom. Number one, you get 3 to 5 times of your yearly profit paid out at once, which can be a handsome amount of cash, which can allow you to start a whole different business, which you would never able to start without this kind of exit. So if you suddenly have this like advance payment for the next 3 to 5 years, it opens a whole bunch of opportunities that are now available to you that wouldn't be otherwise. You can get out of the when you grow you're broke trap. I'm not sure how many other Amazon sellers experience this, but my experience was that when you grow, you are broke. It's very difficult to put cash aside when you are growing because you sell more, you have to order more. So your order volume goes up. Then you launch a new product and boom, like 10, 20K go into launching a new product. And as long as, so, you know, the cash demand of the business keeps growing along with your profits. And, you know, the margin, I mean, the part that you can keep for yourself tends to be like rather tiny, actually. So the first time we can actually catch a break is when we sell it. That was my experience. Another one is the full entrepreneurial full cycle badge, as I call it. So to have experienced, you know, this whole cycle of starting, building, and selling a business is an amazing experience. So you kind of after that you can like kind of check off like I've done it all. So I know, you know, how this works, and it brings us into a different mind space if we have experienced all this. And last but not least, we could simply catch a break, right? So, you know, life is not only work, and building a business tends to be only work. At least it was for me. So, you know, after this, you can actually, you know, take a break and maybe do something like take 2 or 3 weeks off or something, you know, something like, so yeah. Or even longer, but yeah. So of course that's to everyone's taste and preferences. But yeah, these would be like the 4 reasons. If I had to name 4 reasons for selling a business, these would be my top 4.
Cool.
So if you want to sell a business, what are the minimum requirements? I mean, what is like the first starting point? And after speaking to brokers and sellers, so the minimum requirement would be to have at least $12,000 in yearly profit, or like $1,000 per month, and at least 1 year in business. That's like the very, very minimum. And most brokers will not talk to you when you are at that stage, but some will. And you could, you know, that's where it starts, where you could start to look for a buyer. But it definitely helps a lot if you make more than 100,000 in yearly profit. And some of the brokers I know, they will only start talking with you when you're at that stage. It also helps a lot if you did not have a loss in the past 6 months. And it also helps a lot if your profit curve is positive. So if it's actually pointing up and not down. One thing we have to mention right now, which is like the gorilla in the room, is that there is a big change in the marketplace since 2019. And this change are aggregators, which I call them like the new kids on the block. Aggregators have large funds and they aggressively consolidate brands under one umbrella. So they keep on buying Amazon businesses and they're leveraging from something like very, very efficient, because most Amazon businesses are like a one-man show or one-woman show. And there's only so many things like one person can do. There's only so many skills you can learn, even if you spend 24 hours a day. Now they have a team of 100, 200 people of experts at every single possible part of Amazon selling. So if you making, let's say 100K a year, they will simply like put all their expertise into your business. I mean, first they buy it from you, and then they will improve it and optimize it like in every possible way. So PPC will be optimized, listings will be optimized, storage fees. They will have so much money they can buy like container loads of products. They can lower the costs. So they can do everything possible to improve the efficiency and the profit of this business. And that's how like Thrasio is the hero in this market. They grew in 2 years from $0 to $2 billion in market value, which is unheard of. I mean, as far as I know, no other company on the planet has ever grown from 0 to 2 billion in 2 years. And of course, I mean, this is a really nice business case. So Thrasio is not the only one out there, and many other aggregators are coming along. And, you know, when you speak to an investor and say you are about to do something like similar to Thrasio, they will listen to you. So, I mean, people are throwing money at these aggregators and they're growing like crazy. And a very nice side effect for Amazon sellers out of this development is that Amazon businesses have become in very high demand. So all these aggregators are lining up. I mean, even I am getting emails to them right now. I'm not selling on Amazon, but I'm getting emails from aggregators asking me, just because Amazon selling shows up somewhere in my bio on my website. And people are asking, hey, would you like to sell your business? So it has become like really popular to buy Amazon businesses, and multiples are surging. So when I sold my business in 2019, the average multiple was somewhere around 25 to 30. If I look at the marketplace today, I see 45 as an average, and I couldn't believe my eyes. Actually, I didn't check. For the past year or so.
What do you mean? What's average multiple?
The multiple is the number that a broker would multiply your average profit to determine your market value.
Okay.
So let's say
average profit per year, per month.
Yeah, it's the average over the last 12 months. So the monthly profit average over the last 12 months. So let's say you made $120,000 in the last year in total profit, which would average into a monthly profit of $10,000.
Yes.
So 2 years ago, these $10,000 of average monthly profit would result into a market value of your business of 280,000 times 28, right? Today, the same business is worth $450,000.
Cool.
Which shows like how it's almost doubled, you know. So the valuation of Amazon businesses, if you just look at the profit for a moment, has almost doubled. So it has become a very nice time to sell your Amazon. I mean, right now it's the market is in favor of those who have Amazon businesses, especially if they're doing well. And then there's a lot of demand for this kind of businesses.
Great.
Which brings us to the next question. What are buyers looking for? I mean, we are all, as Amazon sellers, our brain is kind of trained to look at what do our customers want? How can we make customers happy? How can we improve our products and all this? And a lot of our mindset is revolving around this. But if we want to sell our business, we have to tweak it a bit. We have to look at what is actually the other customer. In this case, the person who is buying my business is my customer. What is he looking for? And that's very simple. There are three main things. They want profit to be as high as possible. They want risk to be as low as possible. And they want maintenance to be very low. You're smiling, right, Alex? You can relate to that.
Yeah, in other words, they want to do nothing, to earn money, and have no risk.
Exactly. That's only human, right? I mean, if I give you $1 million, I don't want trouble. I don't want risk.
Right.
I want something that makes me another $1 million in the next 3 years or so. You know, that's what I'm looking for. And I want this business to have a team and everything. Everything should be working. And I don't want to like spend 20 hours a day working in this thing. So all these three things make a lot of sense from the perspective of a buyer. But we tend to, but you know, we really have to think about it because we are not in this buyer's shoes. So we're running our business, we make customers happy. So we tend to simply overlook these simple facts.
Okay.
So number one, what is high profit? The most important metric for your business evaluation is your monthly net profit. And that's because the initial listing price, that's what I explained to you just now, the multiple. Mm-hmm. The initial listing price is the 12-month average monthly profit times the multiple. So the multiple is a multiplier the broker will assign to your business depending on their discretionary valuation of your business. So there is a range, you know, like last time it used to be between, let's say, 25 and 30. Now it's somewhere between 40 and 50 plus. And this number, the broker will pick a number out of this range depending on the other factors in your business, like how much risk is involved, how many products do you have a team, do you have SOPs and all these things, which I mention later. But the profit is one base number, the multiple is the other one. Okay. Mm-hmm. So as an example here, which I told you earlier, actually, so this is the example how this business value would be calculated. So the sum, let's say the sum of the last 12 months is 120K, multiple is 40. So the initial listing price would be $400,000. As simple as that. But the multiple, of course, will depend on a few things. And one of the things it depends on is the profit progression. So buyers want to see growth, ideally over 3 years. Like the first chart here on the left, they want to see something like that, something that is pointing up. They don't want to see a loss month, for example. So some brokers will even not list your business on their platform if you had a losing month within the last 6 years. So this is something they really don't like. They also don't like to see.
It means if it happens that somebody has 1 month losses, it's better for him to start a new Amazon business.
No, it's better for him to wait for another 6 months. That's what it is, and to avoid. In the last 6 months. So it's. Okay. 6 months. So, and of course there are different brokers, and of course it depends on the size of your business and what happened. And so it's not like a one size fits all kind of thing, but this is something I experienced. I actually had a losing month, and the broker I was talking to said, I'm sorry, but you know, this, we cannot do this because there is 1 month. I mean, there was a lot of reasons that I could explain exactly what happened. I ran out of inventory, whatnot, you know. but they don't, I mean, nobody cares, you know. So if you have a losing month, that's like a red flag. And if your profit curve, you know, if you look at the first chart and the third chart, the overall profit could be the same. You know, if you do the average over 12 months, the total profit could be the same over that year. But if your chart looks like the right one, where your profits are going down, your multiple would be very, very different. So nobody really is interested in buying like a declining business because it's going down. So, you know, we don't want something that's going down. So that's another very important part to have, you know, to get your profit trajectory on this chart number one. The other part of high profit is obviously reducing cost. So we have to look at all the options we can get our hands on to reduce cost. That's and the ways to do that could be negotiating lower rates from our manufacturer, which often comes with volume. We could change from air to sea freight. Again, if we use bigger volume and we have deeper pockets, then we can do these things. We can use fully loaded containers rather than partially shipping containers. We can create a separate warehouse that has lower storage fees than Amazon and only shipping products into Amazon's warehouse as needed. That sound familiar, Alex?
You're in the WAPI warehouse, right?
Yeah, I think this is exactly where WAPI comes into play, because this is where you can actually help businesses to reduce cost and improve their market value.
Okay.
We could also look at reducing package and product size. So these are just a few hints. I mean, some of them are obvious, but yeah, I mean, it's not just about profit. It's also about, I mean, our profits can result from higher sales or from lower costs. That's kind of clear.
Mm-hmm.
Then we come to number 2, low risk. So buyers want to avoid risk. And the highest risk factors are to depend on one sales channel. I mean, even though we're talking Amazon business, but actually buyers are not very fond of buying in Amazon business, which depends on one channel only. They also don't want to depend on one product only, because if this one product somehow goes belly up, then that's the end of the business. And they also don't want low entry barrier for competitors. So that's why.
Don't run here, because I think I'm not the only person who don't understand how can it be not only one sales channel if we're talking about Amazon. There are different sales channels inside Amazon.
No. Just look at the chart, Alex. I'm explaining this in detail right now on this chart. So what I mean by not only one sales channel means that we can, of course, our main channel will be Amazon, but we can use other channels in addition. And like this benchmark number that I heard from my broker was 30%. So they would like to see if we can make 30% of our sales off of Amazon by using other platforms like House, like Jet, Walmart, or our own e-com store. I mean, I used to make, I think, like 5% of my sales on my e-com store. It was not very impressive. And I know I would have gotten, again, this is all about the multiple. So, you know, this is not a must. This is just how brokers look at our business, and they will like look at all the aspects. And this is part of the risk aspect, is how diversified are you? Could you survive, you know, if Amazon shuts you down for a month?
Mm-hmm.
You know, this kind of question. So, and of course, you can do that much easier if you have several channels. Have multiple products is a huge one. So if you are making more than 50% out of one product, I mean, that's going to be a red flag for many buyers, because as we know, products can die. They have a life cycle. So what if this product suddenly gets taken over by a competitor, by a hijacker or whatnot? So we don't want to. So we want each product to be maximum to contribute not more than 30% to the bottom line. Then we want to have trademarks, patents, and unique features to protect our brand and products from hijackers and copycats. I mean, patents are not that easy to get, but it's doable. So trademark is definitely doable. Patent can be a bit far out to get a patent, but again, it's doable. Some brands have managed to patent like some features of their products. And then of course you can make your products unique. It can be just a little improvement, it can be something that is just a slightly different. So the next guy cannot simply just come and take the same product from Alibaba and sell it and just, and dump the price and take over your listing. So this is another layer of avoiding risk, to have these things in place. And then another quirky idea is to buy or build an affiliate content site in your niche. That also can avoid risk, because that kind of opens you to a different stream of revenue, where you can, if you buy a solid affiliate niche and a website in a very specific niche, it can be a very nice traffic source for one. You can bring traffic to your own products. And then you can also, if you grow like SEO wise, if you get solid traffic, you can also send, traffic to other products and then make a cut from there. So an affiliate site can be a very nice support for an Amazon business. And many people neglect this, and there has been a hit in affiliate commissions a few years ago, and many affiliate sites were suffering. At the same time, they became very affordable. So having an affiliate site which caters to the same niche as you're selling can be a very smart move.
Okay, I'll write this down for my business too.
Yeah, I can send you the slides, Alex.
Okay.
Number 3, low maintenance. So buyers want a business that's easy to take over and run. If you do all the work and daily operations, and it will be very hard for the new owner to replace you, especially when the new owner has no plans to work in the business, but rather wants it as an asset to run on its own. So we want to make it as easy as possible for the new owner to take it over. And this means we have to have a team in place that runs daily operations. We need SOPs for daily operations and even for onboarding new VAs maybe. And we should do as much as we can to remove ourselves from daily operations. This is something I really sucked at, and I didn't really manage to take myself out of the business, and that would have been much better in my case if I had built a team to run everything. But that's another huge aspect it depends on the buyer. Some buyers, they just want to be hands-on. They want to do it themselves, and they want to, there's so many different types of buyers. So for some, it will not be a big issue because they really want to get their hands dirty and they want to do this. Others can be like investors, aggregators, people who have actually nothing to do with Amazon. They want to buy a business which they don't want. They don't even know how to get involved in operations with this thing. So, of course, you're opening yourself to a much wider amount of buyers if you can automate your business. And it's a healthy thing to do for yourself as well, by the way. Even if you're not selling it yet, it can be quite good, to look into these things.
But at the same time, I am an entrepreneur and business owner, and so for me, this one looks like the biggest risk that you were talking now. When I think whether I will buy another Amazon business, I think, okay, the team. Now the team is working with Dano. Dano was hiring all of them. They know Dano. They work together. Okay, Dano goes away. I buy this business with this team, and in a month's time, there is nobody there because they don't want to work without Dano. And so, where is the business?
Well, maybe you overestimate Dano's importance in this team here. Of course, there can be a personal connection with the team. I agree. There are relationships and so forth. But eventually, if I tell my team, I sold this business and this is Alex and he's a nice guy and he's be the new owner. And unfortunately, I have other plans for now. I'm not going to continue working with, I will be there for a transition period, maybe for 3 weeks or 6 weeks. and I will, make sure that everything is running smoothly, and then you guys work with Alex. I don't think they will run, because in the first place, they want to keep their job. They want to keep doing what they're doing, and they want to keep earning their money. I mean, for who they work with can make a bit of a difference, but who knows? Maybe Alex is much nicer than Dano. So I wouldn't say that this is like a deal breaker. If Dano leaves, I think it can be. It's a change. Yeah, I agree. But I don't think it would be as horrible as, like, oh, now the team just breaks apart and everybody runs off and follows Dano. I think that's maybe a bit extreme of a scenario, Because I think most people, they would prefer to keep their job rather than, keep working with Dano, even if there's maybe nothing to do, because he's now just riding Ducati and that's all. So but I understand your point. Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah, there is some amount of risk in taking over a team, but I think it's quite limited.
Okay.
So the next part and the last part is where I'm explaining like the sales process, because this is also something I didn't know how this works. I didn't know what are the steps, and I had to find out like while I was doing it, like like you jump off the plane and then you start building a parachute kind of thing. But this is how it actually works. So what is the process? Let's say you decide, okay, I am selling my business now. And even if you're deciding to sell it in 2 years from now, this process is still the same. So the first thing is you find a broker. And you can do this actually, even if your business is very young. You can talk to brokers at a very early stage, and especially now with all these aggregators, they will be so happy to talk to you now, because they will be like, they will look at your business as like, okay, potential in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year from now, and they will be happy to take it over whenever you're ready. And they will also give you free advice, and as in like what matters and what you should improve. So talking to a broker is a good thing. So the first thing, you find a broker, and then you speak with several brokers, and then you decide which one you want to work with, and that's going to be an exclusive contract. So after that, after you sign the contract, there's no like playing on several weddings at the same time. You have to stick with one. You cannot list your business on several platforms. No broker will agree to that. So as you decide on one broker, and then you get listed on the marketplace. Of course, they will do the research first, and even before they agree to work with you, they will ask a lot of questions, and they will check your business. But as soon as everything is checked, and they have done their research, and they have like connected to your seller account or whatnot, they will then determine their multiple, they will determine the profit, and then you will get listed on the marketplace. So now you're out there, now you're like on Amazon Business, eBay, and buyers can come and look at your listing, and then the first potential buyers will pitch up. Those who are interested, and then the broker will arrange like a three call with 3 people. Like the broker will be involved, and of course the seller and the buyer. So you will have these kind of calls, group calls with the potential buyers. And then there will be a buyer who is actually interested to move forward, So, and the next step, number 4, will be signing the LOI, the letter of intent. And that's quite a big step, because as soon as that's signed, there is like you are expressing an intention, and it's already quite confirmed that this is going to be the buyer, unless something bad happens. Normally, this is like 80% success rate. Then you give access to your seller account, so that now this potential buyer wants to actually see what's going on for himself. And when everything is fine, then they will negotiate the PA, and then the buyer sends the money to escrow, hands over the business, and if all is okay, then they release the fund. And actually, I explained in detail already what is coming now. So number 1, finding the broker. Here's a list of some brokers like Empire Flippers, the FBA broker. I sold my business with the Quiet Light brokerage. And I'm sure there are many more out there which are viable and which can do a good job. Then the next step is you get listed. So this is like a screenshot from Empire Flippers. You will be one of those businesses showing up on their marketplace, and it will be exclusive, of course, with them. And that's when people will start to see and start to inquire about your listing. Then you get into this group calls, and you will be asked a lot of questions. They take about like 30 to 60 minutes. And it's good to be prepared, to answer all kind of questions, especially like, why are you selling? There's normally like the first or the second, like, what's wrong with your business? Why are you selling? Yeah. And then of course, I mean, there are like these default answers to this question, like, yeah, because I'm starting another one and I need the cash to fundraise a bigger business, or I don't know, I'm moving to the Mars, or I mean, if you can just be honest, what you want to do. But I mean, of course, you shouldn't say because my business sucks. That would be a bad answer.
It would be a bad answer.
Yeah. So then the letter of intent, I mean, that's when it gets into all the document stuff, which also was really eating my heart out, because I'm not a big fan of forms and contracts and like lawyers. I mean, I'm German. To read like lawyers English to me is really painful. And I had to do a lot of that. But yes, then the first thing comes your way is called the letter of intent. And some people like contracts, so that's fine. And this is already like 80% like a check. So if somebody signs this letter, it's you're like 80% along the way of actually getting it sold. And then you give access, so the potential buyer gets limited access to your account, so you can verify everything. Then after he says everything is fine, then number 6, they negotiate and sign the purchase agreement. Mm-hmm. And if the buyer wants to move forward after checking your account, it's time to set up the PA. This is a very detailed document covering everything that is included in the deal. So you will talk about inventory, your website, social media accounts, your VAs, your SOPs, your supplier contacts, your email list, trademarks. So everything that's connected to the business will be kind of listed in this PA. So every part of inventory, which is in Amazon, which is on the way, which is in some warehouse, all this has to be kind of is all this being like accounted for. Mm-hmm. And also like everything else you have, all that is in the purchase agreement. And then when this agreement is signed, I mean, obviously you have to agree on the price. And I was a bit silly when I signed my letter of intent, the first one. There was a price written down, and it was much lower than my listing price. But I thought, well, okay, so this is like your suggestion, fine. But when we actually sign the agreement, then we talk again. Boy, was I wrong. So after signing this letter of intent, the broker told me, what you mean? You signed this letter, so there's no negotiation over price anymore.
Wow.
So that was a very bad move. So I would suggest to not sign any letter of intent if the price in that letter is not according to.
But what does mean no negotiation? You can cancel the purchase agreement and not to sign.
Yes, yeah, of course I had that option. So after I could still like not sign the purchase agreement and just cancel the whole deal and move on.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the guts to do that. So I decided to just bite my tongue and move on. Which, I mean, it was not very smart in hindsight. Maybe I should have just waited for the next guy. But at that time, I just wanted to just move forward, and I just took the bullet. But yeah, I mean, just as a heads up, when you sign this letter of intent, and of course the purchase agreement, when the price is written down, then that's it. So then it's handover of the business and due diligence time, and that's another big one. So the business is now practically owned by the buyer, right? So his money is in an escrow account. You know what's an escrow account, right?
Right.
Yeah. So some people don't know. So I just quickly explain. Escrow account is like a third party. It was like an independent entity who will take the money from the buyer and hold it in their bank account until such time when both parties agree that this deal is done. you know. So for this time where the buyer is actually checking the business and making this due diligence time where they check everything, if this is correct, if the numbers add up, if the inventory is there, if the products are as described. I mean, everything has to be checked whether it is as described or not. But as a seller, I don't want to give you like access to all my stuff, you know, without, you know, having any kind of security. So that's why this escrow stuff is really important, because they are like the middleman, the third party who will say, okay, I take the buyer's money, I will hold it, and I will just give it to the seller when the buyer says everything is fine.
Usually the broker does this.
No, the broker himself doesn't. In my case, it was another company. It was not the broker. Okay. There might be broker who have their own escrow department. I don't know, and it would make a lot of sense, of course, to have their own escrow department. But in my case, it was like a completely separate entity, and they were engaged. And yeah, they are not cheap, so you have to pay them money. So, but they will hold all this cash for you, and then they will collect all this evidence from the seller and the buyer and everything. After the buyer says green light, everything is fine. And that's where the due diligence time comes in. And that, you know, the due diligence time in my contract, I think it was 90 days. And I overlooked this sentence, you know.
I think
so then
all the difficult part of the due diligence starts with pronouncing this word.
Yeah. That took me a while to freaking even spell it out, you know, like what due diligence time. And then there was this like 90 days. And like, yeah, I don't know what 90 days. I mean, why would it take so long, right? Whatever it is. But then you realize after you signed all the contract, the buyer, he could legally take 90 days to just dwell on your business and look at it and look at it and look at it. And only after 90 days, he has to release the funds. I mean, even if everything is perfect, he could still legally, he could just take his time and I think that was like a big one in hindsight. I thought, luckily my buyer was a decent person and he actually released the funds, I think after 2 weeks.
Okay.
So he didn't drag me on, but I was thinking like, what if this guy just want to play nasty now? I mean, he could just sit there and do nothing and just take his time and just let me wait for 90 days until I get my money. So that would have been.
Yeah, but actually it doesn't make any sense because he can't use this money. If he could use
yeah, true. I mean, he cannot use it, but it's like a safety buffer, you know. I mean, if let's say after 60 days, you know, something happens, you know, something bad happens to the business and he realizes, oh, maybe I changed my mind. Maybe I don't want, you know. So he could say after 60 days playing around with your business, he could just like say, okay, no, I don't want. Here, take it back. I'll get my money back. Yeah, you know, that's so there are like quite some scary parts in this process when you're sitting there, like especially when people like strangers come and start clicking around in your seller account, you know, it's not, you know, it feels very weird. Just like this due diligence time, but there's another period of time where somebody's just taking your stuff and you have to kind of hope that they're, you know, that things are actually going to work out and you're actually going to get paid. So yeah, I had quite a few weeks in this process where I was feeling like a bit dizzy and thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen now? And that also explains why, you know, you feel like partying very hard when it actually happens. So, Number 9, you know, the buyer releases the funds into escrow and finally the money is in the bank. And that's why you can actually say, okay, I've done it. And
bank and Ducati in garage.
Yeah. You know, I actually already had a Ducati by that time, but yeah, I had much more time to ride it. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the process. I mean, it's good to, you know, when you are selling your business, it's good to just keep these steps in mind and just, you know, to know what matters during these steps. And here's just a quick summary to summarize the whole thing that we have been talking so far. It's number 1, create a strong brand with repeat visitors and customers that participate in the brand's community. Diversify channels, like try to build your e-com store and Walmart and whatever you can do. Diversify products. No product should have more than 30% in profits. Reduce cost. Talk to WAPI. Use their warehouses. Automate. Take yourself out of the daily operations and register trademarks and patents when possible. And choose a broker early on. And let him help you prepare for the exit. I think there's no such thing as talking too early to a broker. I think it's the earlier the better, and it can only benefit if you are having these conversations early on. And that would be my summary. And this is where you have to go if you want to talk to me and get in touch. You can write me an email under dano@devdevice.com. Go to my website, devdevice.com, or book a calendar in my Calendly. Et voila, Miss.
Thank you. Wonderful. Wonderful. Let's switch off the presentation and bring back my face to the webinar, please.
Yeah. I've been missing your face, actually. Yeah, here we go.
So thank you. Wow, very good story. You're a great storyteller.
Thank you.
It's live, guys. Everybody who is watching video, who will watch it, this is practical knowledge, story, real experience, how to sell your Amazon business. I think this webinar is absolutely special because I'm sure there is not much of this type of content online. When a person who did this by himself, Dano sold his business, is telling how it happened, and even did his homework and made a presentation for us with all the specifics.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks a lot, Dano.
It was a pleasure. Yeah.
So as I understand, you're preparing to sell your next business already. Because
I haven't spoken to an agency broker. I mean, the agency business is a bit different, but I do have a plan to exit and to build another business. Yeah, so I think it's good to think in cycles as entrepreneurs. Yeah.
You just said that is it can't be too early to talk to a broker, right?
Yeah. You're right. I should take my own advice. Thank you for reminding me.
Okay, I wrote it down too for myself.
Cool. Yeah.
And I wrote the thing about the affiliate niche websites. This one will work with any type of business. I think this is.
Oh yeah. If you're selling physical or even services, but physical products, if you just spend some time on these marketplaces where they're selling these affiliate websites, I know a lot of big guys who are doing this, and it's really helping them. But I mean, every launch. Imagine if you launch a product, you launch a new product, and then you can just post it on your own freaking affiliate site, and boom, you have traffic coming in and all that.
Affiliate sites are also sold on some type of marketplaces?
Oh yeah, of course. You can go to Empire Flippers. You will find a bunch of affiliate sites. You can go to flipper.com or Empire Flippers. I mean, there's so many marketplaces which have a wide range of businesses, and affiliate sites are being sold. Yes.
Cool. I'll go and search for some logistics ones.
Yeah. Good idea. Yeah.
Okay, Dano, thanks again for being with me today. Wonderful webinar.
Thank you.
For everybody, please, if you have any questions about marketing strategy or about how to sell your Amazon business, please contact Dano. You'll find his contacts down there. And if you have any questions about fulfillment, about big tax, ship your goods to your clients all over the Europe, please contact us, WAPI, and we will do our best to make your buyers happy. Please.
Exactly. So you don't need anyone else. You want to talk marketing, business growth, you talk to me. Yeah. If you want logistics, you talk to Alex. So what else is there? The broker
who will sell your business.
We only need it. So
and to invent the product.
Yeah.
One thing is to invent the product.
Yeah. So actually, a little bit.
We have partners who can help you even with this one. So just contact WAPI and we will help you to go global and grow your business. Thank you very much. Stay tuned every Thursday, WAPI webinars. Thank you very much.